build a wall, stop the ball against St. John's. We have to play with more intensity. Red Storm in the white, Ole Miss in the red. It belongs to the Rebels. Brian O'Connell, Matt Potter, Doug Schow's our officials tonight.
Yeah, awesome that Coach Beard can still find ways to motivate guys in the portal era, because a lot of guys will just quit on you. They'll find another school. This time of year, you got to stick with your team, and the message has been sent.
A turnover on the opening possession, and of course, that's the other storyline. A.J. Storr makes his return to New York City. 3 stops later, he's on his 4th college stop from St. John's to Wisconsin to Kansas to now Mississippi.
Yeah, he's matured a lot. We know that. He's got a lot of mileage, obviously, frequent flyer miles, but he's going to show up today.
What do you like about Bryce Hopkins?
I just like that he understands what his game is. You know, you want to see him play with an edge. You want to see him be fierce down there. He plays so hard. He's so athletic. The fact that he's starting to knock down some shots from outside, boy, that just opens up a world of options for St. John's.
Shot clock trimmed to 12. This is Ilias Bamardine. They are so excited about this freshman, the Frenchman, and there's his game.
Yeah, he's got to be a leader. Just in years, he's a veteran, so he's got to be a leader for this Ole Miss team and can score in so many ways. Has to take care of the ball. Shot selection is what I'm looking at for him, especially when you get sped up by the St. John's defense.
Playing with JDA Dijon in France, Tier A. So has professional experience as that 3 spins off Ejiofor with the offensive rebound, and he is fouled. And Donnie, Chris Beard said, we better be ready to box out the big man.
Yeah, that message at shoot-around was be aggressive, be physical. The problem is when you get on the road and you get in a building like this, and a lot of these guys have never played in this building for Ole Miss, you know, you want to use that energy the correct way. You don't want to get silly fouls early because you're trying to set the tone physically.
Dylan Darling back and healthy for St. John's. This time, a turnover, but that's what's interesting about the Red Storm start. Yeah, they take those losses to Auburn and Iowa State at the Players era, but St. John's through 7 games averaging 92.3 points per game. You'd have to go back to the 1970s to get figures like that from the Red Storm offensively to start.
Yeah, so you have to stress the positives. They're a better team than their record is showing, and you know, only against Auburn they pretty much got it handed to them, but the other 2 losses are not terrible, and the way that Iowa State's playing, that's not a horrible loss either.
Storr downstairs, shot clock down to 2. Ejiofor with straight up defense.
Great pressure there. Defend without fouling. There aren't a lot of teams in the country that are doing that this time of year.
Ejiofor looking for Darling. Already the 3rd SEC opponent for the Red Storm on their schedule. 0-2 against Alabama and Auburn. Downstairs to Hopkins, who is fouled.
Well, we know Ejiofor and Hopkins have done a really nice job quickly of learning how to play together, passing the ball, sharing with one another. The other part of that is it's not just me passing the ball to you, John. It's knowing where you're going to be. It's feeling kind of where the defense is and understanding. I know where Zuby's going to pass to me if I'm Bryce Hopkins, so I move to that spot and vice versa. They've done a nice job of that.
Donnie, the other thing that St. John's, granted, it took time for them to figure this out last year. They were 5-2 through 7 games. Had the disappointment in the Bahamas, but one of the things that they're looking for right now is, okay, we welcome back Zuby Ejiofor. He was preseason player of the year, but who's going to be our alpha dog?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, in all honesty, I think they're still searching for that guy. You know, Bryce Hopkins doesn't have that personality, which that doesn't mean he's not a great player. It's hard to sometimes force that into a player who has not been that most of their career or at all in their career.
Ejiofor with a rejection. St. John's a different team defensively after they ran out of gas against Auburn in 3rd game in 3 nights. Hopkins was stuck into the hands of Josan Sanin. Zion Sellers, he came up big at the players there with some clutch shooting. Sanin with 4, Sanin with 2. Ejiofor has to heat from the logo. And Brian O'Connell came in with a whistle and a foul on Ole Miss. miss at the last second. It's on Storr.
And this is kind of the point we were making. You know, Chris Beard tells his guys, we're going to be physical. You got to hit them first. You got to be smart. You have to know time and score also when you're trying to be aggressive with guys.
Donnie, he was, well, angry might be an understatement. He said, this is not our program. It's not who I am as a coach. Look, we're talking about a guy who's been to a Final Four. What he did at Texas Tech was absolutely incredible.
Taking 4 teams to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Think about that. 4 different teams.
That's Ejiofor stuff. The guy on the other side's gone to 6. So we got 10 combined schools.
Yeah. It's amazing. Maybe that's why they hit it off. Maybe that's why they're such good friends now.
Share that intensity for the game.
Travel.
Camardi, they didn't call it. And now we got a foul on the rebound. And there's the emphasis for St. John's, holding teams to 1 shot.
Yeah, find a body, doesn't matter if it's your man or not. Find a body, get in front of him.
Foul was on Darling, Rick Pitino's team, 316th in the country in defensive rebounding. That is sacrilegious to Pitino basketball, as his staff said. Storr was long, and here's Hopkins. It's a travel. There's that wall that Chris Beard talked about with his team.
Yeah, that was a good call. It was a carry. Sometimes, you know, you get out in transition, you got 2 red jerseys behind you, 1 in front. Just get across to a safe spot, or even before you get across, pick that thing up and look for a guard.
Donnie, he said to his team, if you don't stop the ball against St. John's, guys, we'll just schedule the flight home now.
Yeah, or you'll be sitting on the bench next to him.
Right. Great ball movement for a 3. It's Cash. What a start for Camardi in New York City. Another stop for the Rebels.
Got to be strong down there.
Corey Chess to Camardi. A.J. Storr.
Those are the shots you have to make. Now, this team shoots 38% from behind the arc. So you expect most of those to go down, but the wide open ones, you expect all of those to go, especially on the road in this building. And the guy who knows how to play in this building.
Bryce Hopkins, that's a contested, rough look. And after a 9-day layoff, St. John's off to a cool start. But your question coming in was, could Ole Miss score enough, right?
Yeah, and at this pace, I think you know the answer. You get going up and down, I'm not so sure. Sometimes the way to play out of these wonky kind of situations, if you're a team like St. John's, is to just play fast.
Out of control is Grayson, but picking up the mess and sticking it back was Chest. Corey Chest, the sophomore, a transfer from LSU, averages just a bucket a game. Now we got a whistle underneath. It's before that shot, so it won't count. It takes us.
Tino would be like, okay, we can play through that. If you're Ole Miss, you got to take advantage of what's happening on that other side, and the pace right now favors the Rebels.
When you think about it, that's what went wrong for the Red Storm against Auburn. They had 14 giveaways, up by 9 at halftime, as that's deflected and back to St. John's. You saw Rick Pitino out of the timeout, and look, we saw it last year when this team had started cool. There were a lot of people that were hitting that panic button. What's going to happen? Their non-conference resume doesn't have enough on it. They proceeded to win 31 games, and he won 3 of the 4 major National Coaching of the Year awards. It is a marathon. This one means a lot.
And it is New York.
Yes. 8 on the shot clock. Sellers to center. Tipped out by Mitchell. Jackson couldn't hit. Look at Mitchell, Donnie, all over the glass, and it produces a jump ball. It'll stay with the Johnnies.
I thought that was terrific work, both sides. The closeouts were wonderful from Ole Miss, but also attacking the glass. That's what we're used to seeing from St. John's. Giving themselves extra opportunities by trying to dominate the offensive glass.
Catch and shoot and a swish for Sellers. He's got 5.
It's good for them to see a basket go in. You know, I know they made a 3 when they were was a foul, but to actually see one go in outside the paint has to help.
You know, you said rugged, herky-jerky, physical. Well, who was Chris Beard's mentor? Bob Knight.
Yeah. And that's what he probably thinking he's got to do. Come here, gum it up just a little bit. Slow the Red Storm down.
Shot clock's at 5. Store got to the free throw line. It's in 2. They're going to run out of time. Johnny's basketball. Jackson to Ejiofor. Sannon attacks. Takes a hit and he'll go on the line for a pick.
Yeah, they know how to do that. But again, look, when you make mistakes, they have to be aggressive mistakes. Mitchell got away with one. He threw the ball to Sannon. I love the swing. I love here. You avoid the travel. Extra pass. That's got to be a better pass to a shooter, though. Those are the things you'll clean up the more you a little rust maybe from having so much time off. But Mitchell has to understand, I got a guy who can knock down shots. Let me get it to him in that pocket where he can catch and shoot. Sannon was almost forced to put that ball on the floor because he caught it down at his shoelaces.
Osan Sannon with 16 points in the loss to Auburn in the Players Era finale. 9 combined in the prior two. Rick Pitino said, look, we have Sannon coming from Arizona State with Ian Jackson coming from Carolina. With those sophomores, he said that's a tough process when you go from a freshman season, which is hard enough, to then learning my system into year 2.
And with all due respect to where they came from.
Uh-oh. That's turned over. The pressure produces it. Alley-oop. And Sannon got shoved.
That's a dangerous one there. See, those type of plays to me are the ones that the officials should look at. When a player is helpless, defenseless, if you will, in the air, that's just great defense. Goes up. To me, those are the flagrant fouls. Got a player in the air. If he flipped at all, those are scarier to me than someone getting their jersey grabbed. You know. But you know, when you talk about the young guys coming into this system, John, they're asked to do more under Rick Pitino, I guarantee you, than any other coach that they've been with. So
how do you figure that?
I mean, track record, right?
It's not just 1 or 3 or even 5 things.
Yeah. And it's not every player is built to be able to handle that.
Kamardine has dazzled early. Chess glides in. Hello, Corey Chess. Welcome to Manhattan.
And that's what they're going to need. They're going to need someone who can challenge the bigs of St. John's at the rim. Put that ball down. Get you an easy bucket.
Talking about a guy that played 11 minutes, took 2 shots in the Miami game. Now a closeout by the Rebels. Kamardine said Chris Beard was so upfront with him in the recruiting process, and he said, this is who I want to play for when I come over to America. He is quite the rising star. Shot clock at 10. That's a tough shot and a bucket for Keza Jiffa.
Jiffa, another one of those guys who likes to put his head down, get to the teeth. I mean, the backcourt for St. John's is so important in this game in terms of staying in front of Kamardine, Jiffa, guys who can really get to the basket.
Lining up and delivering. That's the game in the shot of Sannon.
And that will open up everything for him. And also forces guys like Sannon to dig in a little bit more defensively.
Now a steal. Clear for takeoff. Dylan Mitchell.
We've already seen Dylan Mitchell come up with a couple of picks at half court. Just so long, he has great anticipation. Athleticism, needless to say, to go with it.
That's why he was voted a captain.
That's it. And he plays the same way no matter what the situation. Or getting to the foul line, getting fouled because your team ran the play out of that timeout. Doesn't always happen. I know it sounds like an obvious thing, but it doesn't happen a lot.
So it's James Scott who heads to the line, hitting the first Louisville transfer. Dylan Darling to the bench with 2 fouls. Now you think about Chris Beard when he took Texas Tech to the Final Four in 2019. Rick Pitino was just casually at a game when he was out of coaching, trying to figure out his next stop. And he went to a Texas Tech game against Memphis. After the game, he pulled the team aside and he said, "Hey guys, I really respect your coach, Chris Beard. I think you could go to the Final Four." He was right.
He was right.
That's how the friendship started. Here is Sand. Driving, Jackson rather, put back for Ruben Gray, who is just checked in.
Yeah, sometimes you hang around, you know that this team wants to block shots. So if you're that off guy, 2 guys go to the ball to block it. That time it was Ruben Gray. You're going to have a wide open layup.
With more on the Pitino-Beard friendship, here's Caroline.
It goes both ways. Rick Pitino spent time with Beard at Texas Tech, and Beard also spent time with Pitino when he was at Iona. Beard said, "I don't use the word friend lightly in this industry, but I've certainly leaned on Rick Pitino. Couldn't say enough about how much he's learned from him, guys."
Well, we've got a little bit of sound for you from the spring, too, of coaching. For the 73-year-old Rick Pitino. This pressure from St. John's, always looking to create those turnovers, and that's a reach-in by Camardi. That right there is what St. John's is all about.
Yeah. I think this is a St. John's team that is built to be able to win games playing pretty, but also to win those games playing ugly. And not every team can do that, especially when you're talking top 25 teams. Teams play a certain way. They knock down shots, they pass and cut, they wear you down with their passing and cutting and get late in the clock. There aren't a lot of teams that can win pretty and win ugly. I think the St. John's, to me, that's a valuable asset.
What's the key, Donnie, for Ian Jackson to keep growing? Another turnover.
Wow. You have one of the best point guards to ever play in college basketball in Talik Brown as an assistant coach for St. John's. National champ at University of Connecticut. He's a guy that's going to take you under his wing. You got to listen to that every single day. Good pressure there. That's the start. I mean, that looks like a Talik Brown type play if you remember him defensively in college.
How about that from the Rebels? 3 of them swarmed Ejiofor to force one right back.
Man.
Camardi. And given away. Mitchell again. He was almost grabbed from behind. And he'll go in the line for a pair.
You see why, a little bit of why, even though it may not be resonating through the score there, but you can see how this team averages 92, 93 points a game. They get out in transition. They do it mostly with their hands in passing lanes and steals.
As Mitchell hits the first, the road to the Winter Olympics continues as American Olympic hopefuls Ryan Cochran-Siegel and Bryce Bennett head to Colorado for the Stifle Birds of Prey. Tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. on NBC and Peacock. Gliding with pace and off the side of the backboard for Jiffa. Here's Jackson with speed. Jackson out of control. Look at this track meet. Store. That was blocked. It will. Matt Potter was pointing for it to count, and we've got a foul. Made it look as though a goaltending was about to come down. Instead, it's just a 2-shot foul. The foul's on Sandin. Store off on the first. A.J. Store, Donnie, in his return to New York thus far is scoreless. See all Big East freshmen.
I think if he was here his sophomore year, it might be a little different, but this is where he started. You know, I know it's been a few years and he's seen a lot, but you've been to Wisconsin, you've been all over pretty much, you know, east of, what, Colorado? So,
Good geography.
You know.
Give a UConn education.
But, you know, it's the first, this is where he started, so there is something in him that he wants to play well here, and I think he's just, you can see though, you remember A.J. Storr, when he started at Wisconsin, that was about the year that they picked up their pace. They started averaging more than 80 points a game, and he was a huge part of that. When they averaged 17 points a game, for some reason he and Bill Self didn't really see eye to eye, didn't have the success, but at Wisconsin is really what kind of made him and put his name out there on the market.
So now here's the headline. Malik Dia, a captain, a leader of this team, the main returning man. He doesn't play for the first 11 minutes and 49 seconds of this game, and now with 8:11 to go in the first half, he comes in. Chris Beard, he didn't say anything to us when we were with him at shoot-around. Dia was participating. He was with the second unit. But, Donnie, that's a long time to go for a guy who is supposed to be the rock of this team.
Yeah, and it's interesting. This team lacks the physicality, the versatility, and experience of last year's team. So, you know, whatever it was, Chris Beard was adamant about sending a message.
Ejiofor with a step, but we got a foul before that. It's on Ibinayo, is at the free throw line. When we talk about Ole Miss, they've only taken 2 threes. It is a strength of their team. They're top 4 in the SEC, 38% from deep. But you're pointing to turnovers.
Yeah, they have 8 turnovers and only 6 made field goals. How about that? Again, you mentioned that I went to a state school, UConn, but I do know that it's not good to have more turnovers than made baskets. I do know that. The maths.
Leotopoulos just checked in off the heel. Ejiofor with the offensive board. That's taken away by the Rebels. It's Grayson. How can they break through this pressure? Storr was able to. Can he get going? Well, Ejiofor shoved that back to the west side.
Yeah, Storr has to make Ejiofor commit before he just throws that ball up. It was just too tight there.
An Ole Miss program that made just their second Sweet 16 in program history last year. First since 2001. Entry and a slam. Dylan Mitchell.
So talented. I mean, he is. I know there are scouts, NBA scouts, just salivating right now. He is a prototypical NBA body. He's got the game for it. He's got some other things he can work on, but boy, he's talented.
Storr cannot find it. Extra opportunity here. And Rick Pitino immediately turns to his bench. He's going to sub somebody in because defensive rebounding was priority 1. Storr, that shot's blocked. He has been off in his return to New York thus far. 0 for 5. That's a foul on the entry. On Grayson.
And that's a silly foul. Zuby catches it at the dots. You don't need to push him in the back there. See, it's just too tight there. And Zuby Ejiofor is too athletic. Great read. And then just Sellers to Mitchell down low. It's an easy money down there. He's got the length. He has the instincts, the spatial awareness.
As Ejiofor's off on the first attempt. Well, Donnie, Ole Miss is at 10 fouls, and we still have 6 and change to go in the first half. Chris Beard told his team at shoot-around, he said, look, I'm okay with fouls tonight. It means we're physical. We're in New York. We're going to have to play that type of game to win. What do you make of it?
Yeah, and St. John's is one of the best in the country at getting to the foul line. You know, 71% is not the best, but the fact that you can get there and control the game that way, to me, says everything, especially when the game is being mucked up a little bit.
Well, to your point, took 30 free throws against Iowa State rather. And they've been right around that as there's a strip. What a maneuver by Sellers. He got the steal, and then he took the foul, and another foul for Mississippi. They're 11th.
And again, you can kind of see Malik Dia just kind of nonchalant with the ball. Like, you got to understand who's around you. If you're going, now he has the ability to take the ball up the floor, but when you have a guard with you, just hand it off and get up the floor, get your stuff going. Possessions are so valuable on the road. And this is what makes them scary. They show up, they help each other out, they know how to play the passing lanes. It's a team that averages 23 fast break points per game. That's 4th most in the nation coming into this game. And right now, the points off turnovers is 15 to 3. That's the whole game right now for St. John's.
8 fast break points, and they're top 10 in America with 29 free throw attempts per game. They're 9th. They've already taken 16.
Now they only shoot 71%, John, but I don't care. You keep getting there. That controls the game.
Palmerdine was blocked by Ejiofor. Shot clock's at 2. A wild shot. St. John's defense has come alive.
And this is the time where
in not even 15 minutes tonight. Since the start of last season, Donnie, he's got 640 plus points, 335 plus rebounds. Now he's over 60 blocks since the start of last season. The only other player in college basketball that you could say that stat line about, he's pretty good. His name is Jaxo Lendeboer of Michigan. That's the list.
But this is what Zuby does. He's only taken one shot. One shot, one field goal, 2 points, but he's still affecting the game positively for the Red Storm.
Ejiofor cannot hit, and the Rebels clear. What needs to change for Ole Miss?
Yeah, that ball has to move. It's getting stuck a little bit, stuck at the top. You know, east to west, make the defense shift a little bit. Better movement here off the start, and you're left with that.
Palmerdine, they just cannot cash in from 3. They're 1 for 6. That's not like them.
But that's good offense, though. Ball wasn't stuck.
Ian Jackson. It has been all Johnny's after 9 days to let that sit. 1-2 in Vegas. 12-run run. Flipped up and in, and they needed that deal.
And that's more like him. You know, very intentional when he caught that ball getting to the basket.
Caroline has more on Malik Dia.
Caroline? I spoke to him today, and you mentioned that he wasn't in the starting lineup. He told me, I'm a returning guy. I have to instill what I learned last year, and so far I've been failing in that. He said there's too much of a disconnect in this team, and we need to fix it, including in the little things like bench energy, high-fiving teammates, things like that, being that present. So look for that from him tonight.
Any of those things that help create energy for your teammates, you know, it just shows your unselfishness when someone else is playing well, and you can kind of give them their flowers.
Weaving, and wow, they just cannot buy one. Grayson off. Hopkins to Ejiofor. Ejiofor, he was out of bounds. We've got a timeout. And St. John's, after a 4-3 start tonight, with the roster changes and everybody trying to figure each other out.
Not that losing is good, but there's such thing as a good loss.
Shot clock's at 8. Klafke delivered it to Dia. Dia, the engine of the Ole Miss Rebels. And Ejiofor with a 6th block, but they just slide it in the last second. It's chest. He's got half a dozen.
I mean, you can't expect Zuby Ejiofor to challenge at 15 feet and then also come back and get a defensive rebound for you. At some point, that is really going to start to hurt you in terms of giving up so many offensive rebounds.
Sharp ball movement, 3 short, and Ole Miss clears. Opportunity for them to try to close out the first half. Something to take in terms of momentum. 3 consecutive losses. Went to the Acrisure Classic, could not come through. Fell to Miami at home. Pinkins, talented freshman, no. Dia on the offensive glass. And there's the St. John's flaw. Dia all over it. Rick Pitino wants a timeout.
You see why Chris Beard is so tough on Dia. He knows he has the talent. He is a terrific player. Sometimes we can play different players. We're going to send a message here. Look, it's as old as the game is. Players respond to not playing.
Ejiofor to Hopkins. Shot clock's at 2. He didn't. Jackson. It's long.
Gotta shoot that. Ejiofor has to. You talked about finding an alpha. That right there is a great example of Zuby Ejiofor not grabbing that chance to be the alpha male on this team. He's got to shoot that ball. I'd rather him shoot that ball with 2 guys in front of him. Take a look. He's right in the paint. I'd rather him, that was at the end of the play, but I'd rather him shoot that ball over 2 people than to swing it out with 3 or 4 seconds to go on that shot clock.
Eduardo Klafke hits the front end. Klafke, the sophomore out of NBA Academy Latin America. Well, that's the challenge, right? Ejiofor, Rick Pitino said it too. Everybody's zoning in on him, top of the scouting report. And you could sense in the Auburn game, he ran out of gas as the game went on.
I mean, that's 8 feet. That's a little turn off, like a jump hook over your left shoulder.
Gonna tie up here. It's gonna stay with Ole Miss. So can that just be, can you just take the bull by the horns and become
yes,
that?
Yes, well, your coaches can and say, look, you're running out of time. 1. 2, you are the guy. We're telling you, you've been anointed. You're back. You're the only guy back from a team that played over 10 minutes from last year's team. You have to be the guy at both ends for us.
Well, Dia's the guy for Ole Miss, and here comes Malik Dia. 7 straight for the Rebels.
And when you get in these situations, if you're Malik Dia, the only person to blame is the one in the mirror. And you have to, to be a mature player, to grow, you have to accept that.
Off of Sellers' hands.
Again, it's a throw to a teammate, not a pass. What is he going to do with that? We know what Dia's doing with this. He's got such a long stride and long arms. Can extend for that reverse layup.
Vanderbilt to Belmont to Ole Miss for Dia. That time he was way out of control.
Yeah, just good D falling away. Took the bump from Zuby and out of control.
Again, Ejiofor has 6 blocks. He's got 3 rebounds, only a bucket, but he's done it on the defensive end, and another foul away from the ball. And Ole Miss is way over the limit. It's going to be on Johnson. That's their 12th team foul, so it'll be 2 shots. Purdue.
Angry, exactly. Angry Purdue.
It's like our buddy Stu Jackson used to say to a coach out of a game. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
8-second difference between shot and game clock. 8 on the shot clock. Down to 6, and it's turned over. That is the 12th Ole Miss turnover. 10 seconds. Ibinayo. They're talking about who's going to take that shot. Well, that was just disjointed. Back to the Rebels with 3.2.
You know, it's simple. Mitchell pops out. Ibinayo, just pass it to him. Shot clock running down, end of half.
3 seconds here. Pinkins, the inbounder, to Johnson. Oh, my goodness. You go from at least having a 7-0 run to close the first half to now the first 11 minutes. The help came. Jiffa in a jiffy. Johnson. Another open look.
Remember, it's a team that shoots it really well from 3, John, so they can get more of those open looks. They're going to be in a good way, but you got to start knocking them down here just to get some confidence to start this half for Ole Miss.
They're top 4 in the SEC, 38% from downtown. Hit 11 against Miami. That wasn't the area of weakness. That's an offensive foul on Santa.
Jiffa's a tough little player. You saw him go down there, get the steal in the previous play. There he stands a guy up defensively, and just with that extra extended arm, you just can't have it. And it's going to send him to the bench with his third foul. That's a killer for St. John's.
They have broken the press twice seamlessly. Dia with a spin. Malik Diaz on a mission.
Talented this kid is, John.
He said in a story, a feature story, I love playing for Coach Beard because everything has a scoreboard. That's how I am wired, and he has gotten them within 7 as Darling is fouled. It's on Jiffa. Chris Beard went to Diaz to take another look first.
And under control, and probably got fouled there as well. They didn't call it, but played through that contact. Great finish by Dia.
When Dia was at Belmont, he was going to portal. Look at the deflection and the effort from Jiffa.
Jiffa again, it's 3 plays now.
Dia was taking a bunch of Zoom calls, Donnie. One coach went down to his hometown, met with him at the coffee shop. His coach now. All the way, Jiffa just a little bit off. Darling, extra pass, corner 3. Jackson is short. Hopkins couldn't get to it. Ole Miss with a sharp start to this second half. Here is Jiffa, 1,000-point scorer. Terrific run at High Point. Went to the NCAA tournament. This is Johnson. Shot clock's trimmed to 10. Johnson is scoreless on the night. That's a difficult shot. And Ole Miss with an empty trip that has Chris Beard giving his guard a message.
That ball's got to keep moving. That's how they cut into this just a little bit, is by the ball moving. St. John's is too good stationary in front of you in terms of you have a guy in front of you, they understand who's behind them. They help each other defensively. They're too good to let someone just kind of stand them up and try to shoot over the top.
Dylan Darling was in foul trouble in the first half. We did not see much of the Idaho State transfer. They're counting on the run point. Another rebound for Dia.
I mean, the energy level is different too, because remember, you pointed it out. He sat the first 11 or 12 minutes of the first half, Malik Dia. They start the second half really with a different mindset with him on the floor.
Shot clock at 10. It's at 7. Keza Jiffa.
Just bad floor balance there. That's not how you're going to get back into this game. Got to move that basketball, which moves the defense.
For a team that averages 92 points per game, Chris Beard said our defense on St. John's has been good.
Yeah.
It's been a different style, reminiscent of last year thus far tonight. What we saw from a lot of St. John's games, just rugged and physicality. Right now, Ole Miss has the Johnnies disorganized. And that is beautiful from Camardi, the Frenchman.
He plays with real nice pace. At times he plays a little, I think, too slow for my taste. Kind of tries to lull guys to sleep, but I love that pace there. Nice little floater over the top in transition.
He watches Tyrese Halliburton film on repeat.
Yeah, he's about the second or third player that I've talked to this season that has picked Halliburton as their favorite forward. You are, because of your talent, your skill level, because your teammates love you. So you gotta, I think we're seeing a little bit of that in the second half of Ole Miss. Slow start at the beginning of the game, but he was a huge part of that.
Well, you go from Sean Padula, Malin Brakefield, a couple of terrific stars on a Sweet 16 team. And now this guy travels over 5,000 miles to come for his college career. Camardi being asked to do a lot, but they think he could be their best player. Johnson as well. Dia, he's been the guy who's changed everything.
Yeah, got to give it back to him, let him work, see how they defend it.
And a scramble. Chris Beard wanted a foul. Jackson flying, out of control. Look at the fight by the Rebels. That's a foul on Ejiofor.
I love the way both these teams are fighting this second half. I thought the first half, both of them looked a little bit uneasy. The turnovers kind of told the story of neither one was comfortable. This half, I think this is the type of game that we expected from the start. They still got to make some shots and continue to take better care of the basketball, but the way that they're fighting and they're battling, the other part of this too is the officials, you don't even know they're out there in a physical game like this. That is a great, well-officiated game when you don't know that the refs are on the floor.
You got Rhino Common Powder Duck Shows on the game. Look at this. How about meeting at the point of attack?
Jiffa.
By Jiffa.
We've talked Kamardine, we've talked Dia. How about this guy, the way he started this second half?
That was the theme of Ole Miss shoot-around. Chris Beard said, if you don't stop the ball, you're going to have to sit on the bench.
Man.
Because if you don't stop the ball against St. John's, I don't know what to tell you. And we now got a foul away from the ball. It's on Dylan Mitchell.
Yeah, there was a switch down there, and Mitchell was down low on Diaz. Scott had pulled Ejiofor just off the box a little bit. They got to, Scott's on the perimeter, and you're guarding this. Take a look. You got to switch back really quickly. There's no reason for this to happen. It's just a better matchup with Ejiofor, obviously, on Diaz.
They brought the double to Diaz. And that's off the side of the backboard, back to the Red Storm.
And I know Mitchell's a great defensive player, but in the post, he's getting up a lot of weight. On the perimeter, different story. Mitchell will own that matchup, but down low, it's asking a lot.
First meeting between these two teams since the 1989 NIT. It's their second meeting all time. On that night, Jason Williams had 25 and 15 to lead the Johnnies. Remember,
He was a beast.
en route to the first round.
Yeah.
Darling's been quiet. And now we got to tangle up on the rebound. And this is going to go on Scott as the fouls are picking up. It's on James Scott, his second. It's that series history. Gerald Glass versus Jason Williams back in '89. Ole Miss trying to change their fortunes against the Big East. St. John's, the SEC's been a house of horrors for them. They have Ole Miss and Kentucky left on their non-con.
That's a great post-up, great seal down low by Mitchell. He just, again, we talk about him defensively, getting into passing lanes, but his understanding and awareness of where to be on the floor when he sees a smaller player, just such a talent.
So you're already at 5 team fouls now, Ole Miss, and there's 13:45 to go. Just one left to give for the Rebels. They've committed 17 fouls in the game. Trouble getting it in here. This is Ejiofor. Tough shots for Jackson. No! Dylan Mitchell on a pogo stick.
And that may be exactly what the doctor ordered for St. John's.
Felt a little sleepy
Yeah.
until that.
Can't say enough good things about Mitchell.
That's off Dia. It is a 17th Ole Miss turnover.
Dylan Mitchell again, understanding you got to crash, no one in front of him, the extension, the putback. Just a phenomenal athlete, Dylan Mitchell.
Ole Miss, that they have committed more than 15 turnovers in a game. Skip pass to the corner. And speaking of giveaways, look at Jiffa. Donnie, how about the heads-up play?
Oh, he didn't look at the basket. He had a man open underneath for a quick second there. Possessions are important, and as many turnovers as they have, they're probably being just a little safe there.
Storr, who's been very quiet tonight, now he's stuck. The Johnnies swarmed him. A.J. Storr is scoreless in his return to Madison Square Garden.
Really nice job defending without fouling. Got some help. Looks away.
What would you tell Store right now? You're having this type of night. There's obviously some emotions with it. What would you say to him?
Yeah, as a teammate, I would just tell him keep playing. Get your work done on the defensive end and try to get you something easy in transition. But he's really pressing right now.
Kamardine, my goodness. Elias Kamardine with pro experience in France, and you can sense it.
Yeah, you see it. He's a vet.
On the tape.
Been around.
More bodies to the deck, 4 of them, and somehow Jackson ends up with it. Darling back to Jackson. Short. Ejiofor is a man possessed, and he's fouled. Last year, number 4 in the country, he had a 23-19 game against them.
Yeah, that's big time. I mean, for his size, he only owns 4 double-doubles in his career. He needs more than that, and that's probably what Coach Beard is talking about. There's so much more in there to tap into.
Darling long, Hopkins all over the offensive glass.
Yeah. They keep coming at you. They know how to crash. They know how to engage guys. Got to really take care of that basketball, though. If you're Ole Miss.
Donnie, I know the players are different, but this does feel like a St. John style game last year. They're 3 for 19 from 3 tonight. But it's turnovers, offensive glass.
Yeah, but they're holding their opponent to 1 for 9 from 3.
There you go. 16 second chance points. 17 turnovers for us. As we're going to get a foul on St. John's. Caroline Pineda was in the St. John's huddle. What'd you hear?
Well, John, the message from the coaching staff was the tougher team. That's what we are. If it sounds familiar, it's because Chris Beard told us the same thing at Ole Miss shoot-around. To beat St. John's, they would have to be the tougher and more physical team, and we'll find out now in the next 11 minutes which team that is.
Well said. That's where we're at in this ball game. As Kamardine kicks a 3. And Ole Miss struggles. Perry was off 1 of 10. From 3. That is not their DNA.
You see if there's a mismatch down low with Ejiofor.
With Kamardine on him. Hopkins instead from the elbow. Got it.
So if there's a mismatch one place, there's probably a mismatch somewhere else. The late recover to Bryce Hopkins knocks down that mid-range jumper, but you know, there's a misconception about being tough. Both coaches saying the tougher team. It doesn't mean you're going to go out there and fight someone, you're going to punch them or grapple with them. It means mentally tough as well, running your stuff, showing up for a teammate, and occasionally playing through contact. But I think some players, they just misunderstand what toughness means in games like this.
It's just again.
Up there.
Sees okay. A.J. Stewart looking for his first points. Averaging 14 per game. Again,
the thing about being in New York is there probably aren't a lot of players on this St. John's team that before the game realized that Store had played here. But the fans in New York never forget. and this city is all about loyalty.
Caroline has more on AJ.
Well, I talked to him earlier today. He told me he was excited to play his former school, even though the team is completely different now. They could have met in the second round of the NCAA tournament last year, but Kansas lost to Arkansas. He's wanted to get that chance ever since. He told me he's excited to be back in Madison Square Garden, and he warned his teammates that it would be very loud tonight.
Ejiofor, a Tonka truck. 9 and 6 with a career-high 6 blocks. 13,000 tickets out tonight here at the Garden. 31 wins last year for the Red Storm. Dia, he fell to the ground, and now a blocking foul on Ejiofor.
Yeah, I think the crowd wanted the charge on the spin. Maybe Dia out of control a little bit, but I think he had this set up from the start. I didn't think there was enough contact there, at least squaring up by Ejiofor. He was almost leaning that way before, and then he tripped him. I think that one made it easy, just the trip.
Nevertheless, it's Rebels basketball, as that was St. John's last foul to give.
Now, to me, that was an offensive foul, but St. John's is happy they didn't call it. They're on the break.
Hopkins, edge of 4 with the left hand. Get out of his way. Zuby has taken over. Now Storr, edge of 4 with the board. We're flying in New York City. And a foul on the take by Sellers.
And it reminds you of what Coach Pitino said going into halftime. If our defense continues to do what it's doing, we're going to be fine. And they have really done a nice job of standing up for one another. Ole Miss is one of their last 7. They have not scored in over 3 minutes. That is terrific defense. We talk about how defense travels. Not only does defense travel, even when you're at home, when you feel like you've struggled, you've lost 2 of your last 3, you haven't played in 9 days, your defense will pull you out of a lot of that misery.
How much did you despise it as a player when you had a layoff that long and just not be able to play tonight?
Oh, especially when you've lost 2 out of your last 3. The coaches remind you every single practice.
Calhoun never remind you of anything.
Oh, man.
Bean-Io with the board. Now, St. John's on the drive. It's Hopkins. He's out of control.
Ole Miss is going to need a good bucket here before this thing gets just a little bit out of hand.
Foul on the take. That'll help them get to the line for it. As Jiffa went on the run.
Yeah, best thing for them right now is to try to give themselves opportunities to score the basketball when the clock is stopped, and that's exactly what Jiffa has right now.
Dikeza Jiffa went to the NCAA tournament last year. Well, Scotty Scheffler and an all-star field assembles in a stunning location. The Bahamas, where the best golf in the world is played. It's the Hero World Challenge tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. on NBC and Peacock. Forward to that, Casper Pato has checked in, the freshman from Sweden. So Rick Pitino has featured just about everybody as Pato sat back down. But we've seen all different Johnnies across the board in what has been a defense-first performance. Bean-Io from downtown. That is just the 4th St. John's 3.
And he is one of those Swiss Army knives for Coach Pitino.
Foul on Craig. Easy calls. Camardine will head to the line after our timeouts. A team that was an offensive juggernaut to start, they need their defense. St. John's has found it tonight.
St. John's team that when they struggle offensively, you know they're going to get back in it with their defense.
Well, now you're down to 7:55 to go as Camardine steps to the stripe. He's into double figures.
Still Ole Miss, we talk about this. They are a 38% three-point shooting team. They are 1 for 11. Now, you can say they're missing, but something tells me that St. John's pressure has had something to do with that, John.
It's been a different St. John's team on the defensive end of the floor, which between that and defensive rebounding, Rick Pitino said, if we're not better at that tonight after 9 days, I may need to hang it up.
Well, that's not happening.
Although he says that every season. So 7 on the shot clock. Darling with 5. It's down to 4. Bean-Io with 2. Another disjointed trip.
Yeah. But you got to lead. You used all the clock.
Jiffa sent away by Craig.
Yeah, I'm a glass half full. Sometimes when you get to those situations, to get a shot up, you use all of the shot clock and you recover back. And you keep the defense in front of you, come over the block shot. So not the worst thing in the world that they didn't get anything out of that possession.
9th block of the night for the Red Storm. 6 of those have come from preseason All-American Zuby Ejiofor. 10 on the timer. It's Johnson. Dia weaving his way past Prey.
How strong he is. I mean, Prey bounced off of him 2 or 3 feet. Prey's a big boy.
Where do they go? Another empty possession.
Yeah, this is a wonky time, if you will, for Rick Pitino and this.
Kamardine with the runner. It's an 8-point game. Timeout, St. John.
Have your subs in. It was a weird lineup for them right now. That's why we're seeing the timeout called. Listen, down the home stretch, 6.5 minutes. The Stars are going to have to answer the bell. Malik Dia does it at the end for his guys.
He was down, his star player. They beat #1 Louisville.
That's right.
Got some memories here. That's a 5-second violation. How about that? You come out of a timeout and you can't get the ball in, and Rick Pitino is infuriated.
I just don't know how that happens out of a timeout.
If you don't know how, then I definitely don't.
Yeah,
So
an important part of the game, you know, Ole Miss is starting to gain some confidence.
they sure are. Chance to get within 2 possessions. Shot clock at 4. Jiffa down to 2. Kamardine spins out. Ole Miss is 1 for 12 from 3. So unlike them. Top 4 in the Southeastern Conference. Sannon. Another stop for the Rebels, and now St. John's hasn't scored in over 2 minutes. Oh, Jiffa out of nowhere!
I mean, he's really been the star player, the MVP this half for Ole Miss.
NCAA tournament experience, but tell you, this is the end of the floor. St. John's has been lacking in direction.
Oh, wow.
That's tough on chest.
That was really good defense right there. Thank you. I'll take that. I mean, he really has been Johnny on the spot in the second half. Defensively, there, offensively. And you called it earlier, John. You know, all these fouls piling up now, ones that you don't need or are unintentional fouls, if you will. For Ole Miss, I think you're playing good defense. It sends Bryce Hopkins to the foul line, but that all was started earlier.
Front end, couldn't hit. This has been a cold, ice cold stretch for St. John's, and the door has suddenly cracked open.
Well, that's what we talked about. They get to the line a ton, they get fouled a ton, but they only shoot 71% from the foul line, John. They are 15 to 23 tonight.
As we hit around 5 minutes to go, Bears noting both teams. There's a block on Darling. St. John's over the limit. Bears noting both coaches have their challenges.
Maybe a leftover call from the other end, John. It would be nice to call it a leftover. I thought that was pretty good defense down here by Chest, and then that one looked like a lowered shoulder. And
so it sends Dia to the free throw line. His first free throw attempt of the night. It's a 1-and-1 for Dia. He swishes home the first. He's an 80% free throw shooter. Ole Miss has made this comeback. They've only made 1 3 on the game.
How about that? You are in a game, and you have only made 1 3-pointer. And by the way, you have 17 turnovers now. To be fair, you forced 15 by St. John's.
A 10-0 run. And this is a 4-point game. I mean, let's be real here. At points in this game, it's been sloppier than a long night in Manhattan.
Yeah. It's a good call, John. Sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Edge of 4, won't go there. Darling, offensive rebound. Fresh 20. Edge of 4. Oh! Man, that was a block, but a foul is called. Chris Beard now is feeling a certain way about it. Edge of 4 is going to go back to the line. Let's see.
Well, there was a lot of reaching. There's one. That's a foul. Yeah, there's a lot of contact in there. We got fouled a couple of times.
And there's the left hand.
Yeah.
Foul was called on Jiffa. That's his 3rd. And Ejiofor hitting on the first. He's 6 of 8 from the line. Foul trouble. Sannon with 4, Chest with 4. Those the only 2 with 4 fouls in this game. Preseason Big East Player of the Year. Zuby Ejiofor hitting on both. First Johnny to get that recognition since Shamari Pons. Less than 5 to go in New York. What does this game mean? These two teams with 3 losses apiece. You want to talk about all your expectations and aspirations? They both identify this as a must-win for their trajectories. St. John's preseason top 5. They do not want to be 500. Dia was rejected. Ejiofor wouldn't let it happen. And it'll stay with Ole Miss with 11.
I love the understanding to put it in his hand. I also love that Zuby Ejiofor took the challenge, comes up with a huge...
Darling got his hand out. His shot clock's at 7. Does Kamardine realize it? Kamardine with 4. Kamardine with 2. And that is not what you want with 9 on the shot clock. And gives it back to St. John's. It is an 18th Ole Miss turnover. That's the most turnovers they've ever had under Chris Beard.
A lot of conversation with Coach Beard, and right there you see Coach Mark Adams to our right, his left. Awesome to have veteran coaches on the bench with you like that.
Darling, spin cycle, Darling comes alive.
Talk about toughness. That's toughness. The ability to go and try and get a big shot for your team when they need it.
Back into the hands of Elias Kamardine. Now Dia. He changed the game but sat the first 11 minutes.
Look at this mismatch.
8 on the timer. Johnson. Floater. He hadn't scored all night before that bucket from Corin Johnson. 6-point game. Timeout.
How about this to the hoop? Looking for somebody to step up, and it's Dylan Darling. Got a good one. Now you're just bragging. Now you're just bragging. There's a couple of them out there. I only saw one.
It'll be in your next stat factor packet. Caroline Pineda with us on the sidelines as well. A wonderful crew, part of a loaded night of college basketball here on Peacock and NBC Sports Network. Deflected. Jiffa with the pick. Look at the pursuit by Sanandani.
That was deflected off the back of Darling's head from Mitchell there. Fortunate. Oh, wow. Goodness. We've seen that a lot. Early on from Mitchell, you know, just take a look at this. Again, they're throwing the ball, John. There's a difference between passing and throwing the ball. And it's really turned into a problem for really both teams with the turnovers tonight. Wow.
This is what just occurred. Look at this scramble for a loose ball. And a foul called on Sellers. And now St. John's with their 10th team. So it's going to be 2 free throws for Keza Jiffa. He's a 70%. And they're a 72% free throw shooter, swishing home the first. So Donnie, we're at 2:55 left. Both coaches have their challenge. Ole Miss is down to 2 timeouts. St. John's is at 2. We got free throws the rest of the way, both in the double bonus. What are you looking for here in the home stretch of this ball game?
Take care of the basketball. I think whoever takes care of the basketball is going to win this game. That's been the difference, John. This is 19 turnovers for Ole Miss, 17 for St. John's. You take care of the ball, you win this game.
It has been.
I really think it's that simple, John.
It's such a difference for a St. John's game this season. Their fewest point total of the year, 73 against Auburn. Shot clock at 12. Hopkins to Sannon. And Sannon turned it over. The 18th St. John's giveaway. Ole Miss can get within a possession. A stunning turn. Edge of force there as Darling contested the Johnson shot.
Yeah, it's tough because this is not time for hero basketball.
And Rick Pitino's going to call a timeout. Because at this point, Donnie, in the half court, St. John's has not been able to generate. Turn it over! A 19th turnover!
So an opportunity here for Ole Miss. Again, take care of this basketball, get yourself a good shot, run your stuff. That's what St. John's has not done at the other end, run their stuff.
Camardi, the Frenchman, short.
Good D.
Rebound to edge of 4.
Pretty good job just being there, being in the area. And Camardi came up short knowing that Bryce Hopkins was engaged and in front.
Hopkins off the defense. Oh, he got his pocket picked. Dia got the hand in. Camardi to Jiffa. That's over and back. It was a backwards pass, and Jiffa was in the backcourt. 20th turnover.
And the reason he had possession.
Camardi and Jiffa for the Rebels. Here is Darling. And they call a foul on Johnson. So it's Dylan Darling, a 73% free throw shooter to the line. 8 of 11 on the year. Idaho State transfer. Rick Pitino said he's our glue. He's the guy that we need to be the initiator.
He is tough. He's tough-minded. He's got will. We saw him make a huge spin move earlier to the basket. Thought he got fouled a few plays ago going to the basket.
Both teams in the double bonus. It's 2 free throws from here on out. All right, now for Ole Miss.
Gotta go. Yeah, you gotta go quick here. Play with some speed. You take the first available. I don't know if you need a 3.
They only have 1 made 3.
Yeah.
The smart choice with the left hand, 58.3.
You got to get back and play some defense here, but
1 timeout aside. That was nearly a turnover.
you see why it's in his hand, expecting a foul to come.
Darling hung on to it. He swore, whistle, and a foul. Ryan O'Connell whistled a foul, and it's on Chess. That's his 5th.
And I think they were expecting to get fouled here because there were 3 red jerseys that had converged here on Darling, and no one was really moving. In these situations, really got to keep your head up. I would like Mitchell to stay out in that corner to be an outlet valve. There's no way they can be arguing about that. Dia basically had him in a headlock trying to grab the ball.
So Corey Chest is fouled out. And so it's back to Darling, the 72% free throw shooter. That was bang, bang. Had they put the thumbs up there, we would not have been surprised at all. Instead, Chess with a season 9-10 boards is out, back to the point guard. Smooth for Darling. In a game where you've only made 1 3.
Yeah.
Just keep thinking here.
Yeah.
At 5, you got 45.8.
Without question, you're going to have to make a 3 if you want to chance to extend this game for Ole Miss.
Dia, Kamardine, Perry, Jiffa, and Pinkins. They've got some shot makers, and Jiffa and Pinkins. Can somebody step up? Will they just go quickly? Mitchell got his hand on it. Perry heaves. He's short. Ejiofor with the board. He's fouled. And 29.9 to go now. St. John's can breathe a sigh of relief.
Tell you, these games build character, John. We talked about this in the first half. St. John's is a team that, and I would say Rick Pitino is a coach that knows how to win pretty and knows how to win ugly.
Well, I'd say you're right about that with what he has accomplished throughout his career. But I think what's interesting about this, Donnie, as Ejiofor switches home the first, is that all we heard about was defense the last week and change.
Yeah.
Don't you almost feel like it was like, you know what? We have enough scoring. Like, even if it's ugly, we'll figure it out. But if we don't start playing some defense, it's not going to matter.
You're going to find ways to score. Every team does. You know, they talked about how this wasn't a great three-point shooting team in St. John's last year, and you know, you win 30-plus games, and you know, you can say what you want. It's all built from their defense.
Kamardine got it. Just their second three. Timeout, Chris Beard. And Kamardine has hit both. Both the threes that have gone for Ole Miss have come from the Frenchman. 5-point game, 21.
40 combined turnovers. 4-0.
Yeah, this will not
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
It will not be
Wow.
into the classic vault category. But how many times in college you were talking about Pitino? You're talking about a guy who's won 889 games. How many times for you in college did you just win a game ugly where it didn't matter? You found a way.
Yeah. Every game you played against Providence.
Well, there's the difference. I mean, it is such a stark